What if the biggest scandal in music history wasn't about money or fame, but betrayal at the heart of one of the most carefully built empires in pop culture? For decades, Beyoncé has stood as untouchable, the symbol of perfection, loyalty, and strength. She built her image around control of her art, her performances, her narrative, and her family life. But now, the internet is on fire with a rumor so explosive that it threatens to undo everything she has spent years protecting. Whispers claim that Jay-Z, her husband, is not just guilty of infidelity from the past, but may be the biological father of her best friend, Kelly Rowland's son, Titan. A rumor like this doesn't just shake a marriage. It has the power to unravel 2 decades of music history, break apart the sisterhood of Destiny's Child, and crack the illusion of Beyoncé's flawless image. The suggestion alone is enough to send fans into a frenzy, because whether it's true or not, it touches the one thing Beyoncé has always been able to control: her story. The rumor spread fast, fueled by alleged court documents that surfaced online. Screenshots that people claimed revealed a truth long buried. Immediately, social media latched on, dissecting every detail, questioning every past interaction, every lyric, and every photograph for hidden meaning. For Beyoncé, silence has always been her greatest weapon, but now silence is starting to look like vulnerability. And when the internet smells blood in the water, it doesn't take long before theories spiral out of control. The visual evidence was one of the first things that took the internet by storm. Side-by-side images of young Titan and Jay-Z started circulating like wildfire. Fans began pointing out the jawline, the nose, even the way he smiles, claiming the resemblance was undeniable. Some dismissed it as coincidence. After all, children often resemble multiple people in surprising ways. But others argued that once you notice the similarities, it becomes impossible to unsee them. In a culture where public perception can feel like proof, these comparisons were enough to send the rumor from whispered gossip to a viral storm. And for Beyoncé, who has spent her entire career carefully curating her family's image, the idea that her best friend's son could be seen as her husband's child is a storyline she cannot control, no matter how many public appearances or photo releases she tries to manage. The speculation didn't stop with the photos. Fans started digging into Kelly Rowland's past music, especially her 2013 track, Dirty Laundry. At the time of its release, the song was praised for its vulnerability, a rare moment where Kelly spoke openly about abuse, betrayal, and hidden truths. But now, more than a decade later, listeners are re-examining those lyrics under a new lens. Lines about manipulation and betrayal are being framed as coded confessions about a possible secret triangle involving her, Beyoncé, and Jay-Z. Was Kelly trying to tell the world something all along, burying her pain in metaphor because the truth was too outrageous to say outright? In the music industry, it's not unusual for artists to lace real experiences into their songs, often disguised by poetic language. And the resurfacing of Dirty Laundry has fans wondering if Kelly was leaving behind a breadcrumb trail, never meant to be followed until the rumor forced people to connect the dots. From lyrics to images, every piece of Kelly's public life is now being scrutinized, not as artistry, but as potential evidence. But perhaps the most damaging detail fueling speculation wasn't found in lyrics or photographs. It was the money trail. Rumors claim that ever since Titan's birth in 2014, Jay-Z has been sending quiet payments to Kelly's family. On the surface, some fans argued this could have been generous godfather-like support, an extension of his close relationship with Kelly as part of the Destiny's Child family. But in the shadow of the paternity rumor, those same payments take on a darker interpretation. Were they hush funds, meant to keep a dangerous secret from spilling into public view? The timing alone raised eyebrows. Why then, and why so consistently, unless there was more to it? And if those payments are real, the question becomes even more haunting. How much did Beyoncé know? Was she complicit, silently protecting her empire by looking the other way? Or was she betrayed, kept in the dark, while her husband moved in secrecy for nearly a decade? Either possibility is devastating. If she knew, it means the flawless queen we've all admired was quietly living with one of the most painful betrayals imaginable, all while maintaining an image of perfection. If she didn't know, then Beyoncé, the ultimate image of control, was blindsided in her own home. For someone who has built a brand on loyalty, power, and resilience, both outcomes shatter the very foundation of her myth. And just when people thought the scandal couldn't get bigger, old stories about Jay-Z's past began resurfacing. Fans started revisiting his history of messy entanglements and unresolved rumors about secret children. One of the most infamous cases was that of Rymir, a young man who spent years in court trying to prove Jay-Z was his father. The case dragged on for years, with allegations of legal maneuvering and financial power being used to bury the truth. At the time, many dismissed it as a money grab, but in light of the Titan rumors, people are stitching the narratives together into a larger pattern. Could this be part of a long-standing habit? Hiding scandals before they could take root? Using influence and resources to silence them until the world moved on? And if so, is Titan just the latest chapter in a story that has been playing out behind the scenes for decades? It doesn't stop there. Jay-Z's past also includes controversial rumors about his relationships with younger women in the industry, whispers that have never completely disappeared. Nas famously threw fuel on the fire in his diss tracks, suggesting inappropriate relationships with protégés like Foxy Brown. While Foxy has denied those claims, the accusations still linger, resurfacing whenever Jay-Z's name is tied to a new scandal. Fans now argue that when placed against the backdrop of Titan's story, these old controversies begin to form a disturbing pattern. The idea that Jay-Z has blurred lines, manipulated situations, and relied on his power to avoid consequences suddenly feels harder to dismiss. What was once brushed off as industry gossip now seems like puzzle pieces clicking into place. And at the center of all this is Beyoncé, silent, unshaken in public, but rumored to be reeling behind closed doors. Her silence has always been her most powerful weapon. She doesn't give messy interviews, doesn't rant online, and rarely explains herself. Instead, she lets her art do the talking, often lacing her albums with hidden symbolism that fans dissect for months. Lemonade addressed infidelity without her ever uttering Jay-Z's name in an interview. 444 gave us his confessions in musical form, framed as a redemption story. But now, the question looms larger than ever. Will she address Titan in her next project? Or will she double down on silence, refusing to validate the scandal at all? For Beyoncé, the stakes are higher than they have ever been. This isn't just about marriage anymore. It's about legacy, motherhood, and the sisterhood that Destiny's Child built as its foundation. If Titan truly is Jay-Z's son, then everything, the loyalty, the unity, the flawless image, fractures under the weight of betrayal. The woman who taught the world about control could suddenly be remembered as the woman blindsided in her own kingdom. And when fans began looking beyond Beyoncé and Jay-Z, the scandal only grew darker. Questions started forming around the family itself, and in particular, Beyoncé's mother, Tina Knowles. For years, Tina has been the matriarch of this empire, not only shaping Beyoncé's career, but also treating Kelly Rowland like her own daughter. She has often referred to Kelly as family, written glowing tributes about her, and positioned herself as the glue that kept Destiny's Child together even after the group ended. But in light of the Titan scandal, that image is being re-examined. Could Tina have known more than she let on? Was she aware of whispers behind closed doors? And did her instinct to protect her daughter's empire push her to shield Jay-Z from scrutiny while silencing Kelly? It wouldn't be the first time a powerful matriarch orchestrated damage control in the shadows. Every family photo, every affectionate tribute, every public defense now carries the weight of suspicion. For fans who once saw Tina as the embodiment of maternal love, the idea that she may have been the quiet architect of a cover-up transforms this rumor from a scandal into something far more chilling. A generational conspiracy to protect the Carter dynasty at all costs. And if that's true, then Beyoncé hasn't only been betrayed by her husband, she may also be facing the realization that her own mother helped protect him. The betrayal shifts from personal to systemic, and that possibility shakes the image of Beyoncé's entire family. The whispers don't stop there, because Jay-Z's powerful connections in the industry only deepen the sense that there's more here than meets the eye. His relationship with controversial figures like Diddy has been analyzed for years, with many noticing how his name often surfaces on the edge of scandals without ever being fully dragged in. Lawsuits, allegations, and explosive headlines frequently mention his presence, but somehow his reputation always comes out clean. Some believe this is luck, but others argue it's the result of deliberate maneuvering, influence, and power. And in the context of the Titan rumor, it raises a disturbing question. Has Jay-Z mastered the art of escaping consequences so thoroughly that even the most devastating betrayal might be buried in time? The internet isn't convinced this story will fade like the others. Too many pieces from the past are suddenly fitting together in a way that fans can't ignore. From Rymia's claims to the resurfaced Nas diss track to Kelly's emotional interviews, everything feels interconnected now, like threads from a web finally being tied into one narrative. And while Jay-Z has proven he can weather scandals before, this one feels different because it doesn't just involve him, it threatens the very foundation of Beyoncé's mythos. Beyoncé has always been seen as flawless, untouchable, and in control. Even when Jay-Z's infidelity became public, she managed to turn her pain into art, flipping the story into a cultural moment with Lemonade. She didn't lose control, she gained power. But this is different. If Titan truly is his son, then the betrayal isn't something she can spin as growth or resilience. It's a fracture of her closest bond, a rupture of her sisterhood with Kelly, and possibly a secret her own mother helped guard. For someone whose empire was built on the illusion of strength, unity, and loyalty, this isn't just a scandal. It's a dismantling of her entire narrative. The question everyone is asking is whether Beyoncé will respond at all. Historically, her responses have been subtle, never direct. She leaves clues in lyrics, in visuals, in performances that fans dissect like ancient codes. Some predict that if she chooses to respond, it won't be in an interview or statement, but in a project so massive it shakes the culture, just like Lemonade did. Imagine a visual album that unpacks betrayal, not just in marriage, but within family and friendship. A body of work that forces the world to confront the cracks in her kingdom. It would be seismic, the kind of cultural moment that not only reclaims her narrative, but also redefines her legacy. Yet others believe she may choose the opposite route: silence. After all, silence has always been her most strategic weapon. By refusing to address rumors, she maintains control by not giving them legitimacy. The less she says, the more mysterious she becomes, forcing the public to keep speculating. And speculation, in its own way, keeps her relevant while protecting her from direct accountability. But this time, silence may not be enough. The sheer weight of the rumor is too big to ignore, and fans are dissecting everything from her Instagram posts to her fashion choices, looking for hidden meaning. Even her decision not to speak has become part of the narrative, with people debating whether her silence signals strength or concealment. For Beyoncé, there may be no right move. If she speaks, she validates the rumor. If she stays quiet, she looks complicit or powerless. And for someone who has built her life on being in control, either choice comes with devastating consequences. This leaves fans and critics circling back to the legacy of Destiny's Child. The group's image was always about unity, sisterhood, and loyalty. They were framed as more than bandmates. They were family. And for millions of fans who grew up idolizing them, this scandal feels like a betrayal of that story. If Titan really is Jay-Z's son, then every hug on stage, every laugh in interviews, every declaration of sisterhood becomes tainted by the possibility of a lie. Was the image of unity real, or was it carefully curated while a devastating secret hid in plain sight? For the first time, Destiny's Child's legacy isn't being celebrated. It's being questioned. And that shift could be more damaging to Beyoncé's empire than any personal scandal, because it undermines the story that made her beloved in the first place. The irony is brutal. Just months before the rumor exploded, Kelly Rowland was publicly praising Jay-Z, calling him one of the greatest men she knew after he defended Beyoncé at the Grammys. At the time, it was seen as loyalty. Now, that quote has been twisted into something darker. Was she covering for him? Was she protecting him out of obligation? Or was she truly unaware of the storm that was brewing? The internet doesn't let coincidences slide, and now every past statement, every smile, every cryptic look is being reframed as evidence. For Beyoncé, this means the narrative is slipping from her hands, rewritten not by her art, but by speculation she cannot contain. And the longer the silence stretches, the louder the speculation grows. What we're left with is an empire wobbling on its throne, its perfect image cracked by a single rumor that refuses to die. If Titan's paternity is truly linked to Jay-Z, then this isn't just another celebrity scandal, it's the collapse of a dynasty. It forces us to ask whether even the most powerful figures in pop culture can ever truly control their narratives, or whether the truth, no matter how deeply buried, always finds its way to the surface. Beyoncé's legacy has been built on resilience, transformation, and myth-making. But even the strongest myths can shatter. And for fans around the world, the haunting question remains: Is this the scandal that finally cracks Beyoncé's empire wide open? Or is it just another rumor that will eventually be swallowed by silence and spectacle? The truth may never fully surface, but one thing is clear: sometimes the biggest secrets are the ones hiding in plain sight.